Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Maria Siddiqui and I'm here to present to you a 3-nation circular tour of Dr. Arif Ahmed of Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan and Dubai. Kazakhstan has a size 2/3 of India and a total population that's equivalent to the national capital region of Delhi. Kazakhstan has a visa-free entry for Indian passport holders.
Hello, I am Dr. Arif Ahmed. I took off from Delhi by Air Astana, an airline which is cheap, excellent food with very good hospitality. As you reach Almaty in Kazakhstan, from the aircraft, you see vast stretches of snow-covered mountains. There are many resorts in these snow-covered mountains, and the facilities in these snow-covered mountains are the same that you find in Gulmarg, Kashmir. In Kazakhstan, nobody understands English. They all speak Russian. I had to use Google Translation for communication. My next stop after Almaty was Aktau, and here I was received at the airport by my doctor friends.
The Caspian Sea is the largest inland sea in the world. It's a beautiful, very calm blue water sea with an amazing climate. The water is absolutely crystal clear, showing the seabed.
The next day I went with my friends on a speedboat ride, and if you wish you can go on a slower ride not costing more than 600 rupees. The temperatures in April are a cool 20 degrees with a gentle breeze and clear skies. As you can see, from the boat you can get a beautiful view of the city skyline. After this, we went to see the World War II memorial where there is a fire burning continuously since 1942. Also after this, we went and had lunch, the traditional Kazakh lunch, a sumptuous lunch.
The staple traditional food of this country is camel milk and horse's meat. This horse meat dish is known as bishmarak. Unfortunately, excessive consumption of this horse meat seems to be causing pancreatic disease.
If you visit the countryside, you will see the steppe plains for miles with just sparse grass. No agriculture, but heavy breeding of horses and camels and occasionally cows. The next day, we drove to the mountains which pass through an area which is 116 meters below the sea level and is the deepest living area below sea level. The Aktau Mountains are around 3 hours drive from Aktau, and they are a sight to see. For millions of years, the sea extended up to here, and that's why you see vast evidence of marine life like this fossilized octopus sample in my hand.
The mountains are huge, which have been battered over centuries by wind and sea that extend up to here. There are some that rise vertically, that are imprinted on their currency, and some that have deep gorges. These mountains are very similar to those that are seen in Colorado Grand Canyon. The next stop was Baku in Azerbaijan, which is exactly on the opposite side of the Caspian Sea. It's a bustling port. There are 2 daily direct flights from India to Baku, and an e-visa can be acquired at a nominal cost for Indians. There are good tourist offices at the Baku airport.
However, I was taken around the city of Baku and the surrounding regions in a private taxi driven by a South Asian driver. My first stop were the caves of Gobustan.
These caves in Gobustan are more than 40,000 years old, and they have carvings that depict various aspects of daily life at that time. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it also has an attached museum that depicts the various tools and body coverings of that time.
My next stop were the mud volcanoes in Gobustan, and as you can see, I could easily put my hand into the volcanoes.
Because they are not caused by magma, the mud volcanoes, rather than being hot, they're quite cold to touch. In fact, they're almost freezing. There are about 1,000 of these in the world, out of which 400 exist in the coastal region of Azerbaijan.
I then drove through the city. It is a modern city with beautiful skyscrapers. In the center of the city, along the Caspian Sea, is the Bibi Haibat Mosque. It has beautiful interiors and is worth a visit for every visitor.
The mosque includes the tomb of Uqaima Khanum, a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, and today is the spiritual center for the Muslims of the region and one of the major monuments of the Islamic architecture in Azerbaijan.
After the mosque, I drove across the city to Yana Dag, which is known as the Fire Mountain of Azerbaijan.
The Yanardagh flame burns fairly steadily and it's been continuous over all these years. That's because there's a continuous seepage of gas from the subsurface. It's interesting to know that snowflakes in winter, they dissolve even before they hit the ground.
And my last stop in Baku was the Ateshgah fire temple.
Here are the inscriptions in Persian and Sanskrit. Based on these inscriptions, the temple was used as a Hindu, Sikh, and Zoroastrian place of worship. Atash is the Persian word for fire. The pentagonal complex, which has a courtyard surrounded by rooms for monks and tetrapillar altar in the middle, was built during the 17th and 18th centuries. Here, Lord Shiva and Lord Ganesh were worshipped in a room.
And my last stop was Dubai. It needs no introduction, and it invited a visit to the Museum of the Future. These are the genetically derived animals of the future, and these are the future cars.
It takes you into a journey like what travel to space would be like. Who would have known that 100 years ago how we all fly today?
However, because of the cloud burst, there were floods and my stay was totally marred because of the breakdown of communications. There were no taxis running, metros were limited, and my flight to India was cancelled. What is remarkable was the resilience of the residents and the total cooperation of the authorities. And thanks to my dear friend Dr. Mustafa, my classmate from college, we had a sumptuous lunch at the Damascus Arus restaurant. It was a trip memorable indeed, and I'm happy to be back home.
I hope you all enjoyed this short recount of Dr. Arif's trip. This was just the beginning. There are a lot more places in the world left to explore.